Egypt was an empire that existed for 3,000 years. 3,000. So it didn't get as far as China, but it was as old as China, but it just didn't last as long as China. But even a civilization that lasted for 3,000 years is worth studying. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? Well, what they did wrong is that there were tension within the nation. There's tension between tribes, or local dominions. There was tension constantly between the priests and the pharaoh. That was just a constant thing. And when one was weak, the other was strong. Egypt existed for 3,000 years, but they had three periods, which historians refer to as the intermediate periods. And that's just a nice way of saying that the central government broke down completely. Imagine that there's no government at all in Washington, D.C. for 200 years this went on in Egypt. Can you imagine that? For 200 years, there were times during these intermediate periods where there was not one central government, but there was maybe 10 or 15 different regional governments, and they competed with each other until some strong man came back and rose up and reunited the kingdom, and then it went on, and that was what is called another dynasty. But Egypt had a total of 30 dynasties. The 25th dynasty, which is not celebrated, was founded by Black Africans from Kush, which is modern day Sudan. But remember, Sudan, the word Sudan is an Arabic term which means the black land. They're black people in every sense of the term. If you look at their images, Taharka, which is mentioned in the Bible, coming to the assistance of Hezekiah when the Assyrians were coming to seize Jerusalem and Judah. It's in Isaiah, I believe, chapter 38, and it's in Hezekiah, either not Hezekiah, but First Kings or Second Kings. You have to figure that out. Chapter 19, look. You'll see the man. It says he's an Ethiopian, but as I've shared with you before, whenever the Bible refers to Ethiopians, it's generally referring to Africans, people of dark skin, black skin from the continent of Africa. But generally, the term Ethiopian is used. It says that Taharka was the king of the Ethiopians. We know that he actually was one of the kings, or one of the pharaohs of the 25th dynasties. It's amazing. But how the 25th dynasty came into existence is that Egypt was going through one of those intermediate periods where the central government was falling apart. And why I shared this with you is because it seems to me as a student of history that we look like we're headed toward a intermediate period right here in the United States. Taharka and the Kushites were known for their military prowess. Nations from around the world, and that includes Persia, and that includes Assyria, and that even includes Egypt, hired them as experts. They were actually the secret service for the pharaohs, these black men. They had a special skill of being able to shoot an opponent's eye out from like 300 yards away with a bow and arrow. So they would be the equivalent of sharpshooters today. Kush, before it was called Kush, it was called Taseti, which by interpretation means the land of the bow, because they were tough. They were awesome. They were powerful brothers, literally in every sense of the term that we use that. But that's not how they conquered Egypt. How they conquered Egypt, how they established the 25th dynasty was two things. I told you one. The central government was falling apart. The people were at odds with each other politically. They couldn't get on the same sheet of music, because I told you at the beginning of this lecture that political ideology is the weakest form of glue there is, politically, historically. And blood is the number one. Then religion is the second. So what Alara, A-L-A-R-A, Alara, who was the founder of the 25th dynasty, what he discovered, what he understood, was when the political system is teetering on the verge of collapse, it is an opportunity that's presented for the religious people, the moral people, the people who have moral authority, to stand up and say, this is the way, follow it.